Simple, the best Counter-Strike player in the world, fresh off a tournament win, currently has some really unique CSGO skins in his inventory. He's no stranger to top tier exclusive CSGO items either. In the past, he's borrowed a one-of-one blue gem skeleton knife from a Chinese collector, and currently he's got some of the strangest and most expensive skins in the game. So let's take a deep dive into Simple's insane inventory. But as always, just before we get into it, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this video and want to learn more about the CSGO skin scene and investing, and check out my sponsor for this video, tradeit.gg, the best way out there to trade your old boring skins out for new ones, or finally trade up all those garbage low tier skins you have for a sick knife. If you sign in through that code in the description, you get a bonus on your first trade. So be sure to do that, but for now, let's get right into it. Let's start with the knives Simple currently owns. He actually owns 4 different knives right now, starting with a 0.009 butterfly fade. The cheapest 0.00x I could find on Buff was actually listed at exactly 10,000 RMB, which is about 1550 USD. Butterfly fades have really gotten expensive recently, so this might come as a surprise if you haven't been keeping up with the prices, but next he actually has an even rarer knife, the StatTrak Stiletto Ruby. StatTrak Rubies, Sapphires, and any gem knives really are incredibly limited. Sure, some of their prices aren't as insane as you might think, especially for a stiletto, but they are nonetheless some of the rarest knives in the game. There's currently less than 10 listed on Buff right now, and the cheapest is 1150 USD. But if you thought this knife was rare, Simple also owns a factory new Stiletto Crimson Web, where only 4 are listed on Buff right now, with the cheapest being a bit under 1200 USD. Another incredibly limited knife that you almost never see. Factory new Crimson Webs are honestly really hard to come by, but they're really clean knives if you do get a hold of one. And then he actually has a 98% flip knife fade too, which goes for about $415 or $50 above the normal flip fade price. But so far in just these 4 items, Simple has a bit over $5,000 in knives alone. And honestly, none of these skins are that crazy once we look at the ops he owns. Starting with what is probably the weirdest op skin of all time that I've ever seen, at least, a 0.0002 op fade, one of the lowest in the world. In fact, a top 20 lowest float op fade, so not cheap at all. And then you tack on 3 NaVi Cato 14 non-hollows and an iBuyPower Cato 14 non-hollow that is just absolutely scraped. I have no idea why this thing was crafted, but it definitely is unique. I'll give it that. I'm not 100% sure exactly how much this craft would have costed, but if we base it on prices from when Operation Broken Fang was going on and when the op fade was brought into the game, iBuyPower Cato 14s were around $1,500 and NaVi Cato 14s were around $300 to $400. So not including the probably near if not over $2,000 paid for this op fade alone, the stickers costed somewhere in the mid $2,000 range as well. I'm pretty confident Simple is borrowing this and didn't make this craft himself. Pros never usually do, but shout out to whoever did and whoever is letting Simple use it. If you did this, please reach out to me on Twitter because I would love to talk to you and know if you're insane or not, number 1, and number 2, what the point of this craft is, but it's really interesting. But the thing is, the ops don't even get any less weird after this one. Next up, we have Simple's Op Graphite. This actually seems to be a skin he owns, which I'll get into a bit later, but right off the rip, I want to say this craft looks sick and is probably my favorite op in the game that isn't a Gungnir or insane 4x Cato 14 hollow craft. So why do I say it's weird? Well, for some reason, the iBuyPower hollow is scraped once on it. Thankfully, it really isn't noticeable at all, but why? What is the point of scraping this thing once? These things have been expensive for so many years, and I know the op graphite has been around for a while, but I just don't really understand the reasoning behind it. But apparently he's had this op in his inventory for well over half a year at this point, so it does seem like he owns it, which is pretty cool, and it's probably one of the best op skins in the game that is, I guess, a reasonable price, meaning not like $5,000 to $10,000. But on to the next op, and hey, this one looks pretty familiar. It's an op Asimov with pretty much exactly the same craft. Personally, I don't like this one as much because the gold health sticker, even though it's scraped one time more, shows the outline since the op azimuth is white, so it does look a bit weird. It's kind of hard to tell from this inspect, but in game it definitely looks a bit worse than the graphite in my eyes. Maybe on a black azimuth it would look a bit better, but still not too bad at all, and it's a craft I don't mind. But if you're wondering why he doesn't use either one of these that I've gone over, it's actually because he uses his other op azimuth, which he has in his inventory. Personally, I think out of the other three, yeah, even the weird op fade craft, that this one is probably the most boring and probably not the best looking, but I have seen him use the graphite and other azimuth before, so I'm sure he switches them around pretty often. I mean, I would if I had so many options to choose from, along with the knives as well. I'm sure he switches them out pretty consistently. But we aren't even really close to done yet. Symple actually has quite a few more skins in his inventory, a lot of high tier stuff as well. He actually just got a pair of factory new sports gloves Nox, which are a casual near $4,000 for the cheapest pair listed right now, another really exclusive item. They're on trade hold, so I assume he's borrowing them since no one ever really buys factory new gloves except high tier collectors because of how expensive they are and how similar they look to minimal wear gloves, but I'm sure they'll look great with the 4x Tyloo Gold AK Slate that he got. I actually just noticed that they both have the same trade hold on them, so I can pretty much guarantee that he's borrowing them, but that is a sick combo. Like, I'll rarely say an AK or any rifle or pistol or whatever, any gun that goes well with gloves is that good looking, but honestly, AK slates and factory new gloves that are like pitch black as well looks absolutely great, especially with the Tyloo hollows on the AK. It's really clean. But besides all that, he just owns some random low flow items and a lot of deagles for some reason. Starting with a 0.004 Emerald Jormungandr deagle, if I'm saying that right. I've been trying on the pronunciation, it could be wrong. Next up, he owns a 0.001 deagle Blaze, one of the OG skins, so I guess he just wants a lot of options to choose from, and he does like his 0.00 floats. Next up, we have a 0.005 deagle Prince Stream, one of the newer skins. I mean, looks pretty cool. Once again, I guess he just likes a lot of options. And finally, a souvenir field tested deagle hand cannon. One of my favorite deagle skins, honestly. The gold stickers look really sick on this thing. The only reason I haven't bought one is because it's kind of a weird investment, and that's what I base a lot of my buying on nowadays, and it's also really hard to sell. So it is a cool deagle skin, but if you plan on investing, it's kind of difficult to sell. And the only other really notable thing in his inventory that I'm gonna go over in this video at least, he has a lot of other expensive items, but he has an 89% Glock fade that's 0.002. Again, I don't know what it is with him and 0.00 something floats, but I mean, they do look clean, so I can't blame the guy. But unfortunately, I don't think the low float on this thing is gonna get him any more money than just a regular Glock fade, but the 89% definitely could get him a few extra bucks. I say this because I actually own a 0.002 Glock fade as well, and from what I've been told by big collectors and the price I bought it for, you don't get anything more than market, but the higher that fade percentage, the more people pay for it. So wouldn't be surprised if he gets an extra like 50 bucks or something for that 89% fade. But besides all that, I think that does pretty much wrap it up for this video. Besides some other random skins and actually some really cool trophies from his top 8 major finishes, which some of you guys might have not even seen before. These things look pretty cool, honestly. There really isn't anything that special in Symple's inventory besides all of that. But he does have some really unique crafts and low float skins. Overall, a solid 9 out of 10 inventory in my eyes at least. But let me know if you guys want to see more videos like this one, because I have a pro in mind with an inventory that many collectors would want and I'm pretty jealous of as well. So if you guys did enjoy, I'll make sure to get on that. But for now, just be subscribed to the channel if you did enjoy this video so you don't miss out on any new content, and check out the homies over at Tradeit, link at the top of the description. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.